I think that she is trying to, with her Paris Fashion Week exploits, I think she was trying to secure this Vogue placement.
Oh, well,
And
it a lot of
she was seen with the Vogue editor, the new Vogue editor, who, by the way, is Murphy Brown's daughter, a Nepo baby. That's why she got the gig over the weekend in New York.
well, maybe she is going to appear on Vogue. It got a lot of eyeballs. And that sort of walk to the car or what it was, it drove me mad. That sort of look at me moment. There was nothing graceful about it. It was, I'm the star here, yet I've had to, but then you can tell me she's had to invite herself to be the star, which is as tacky as it gets. I mean, if you
Victoria
are you
Beckham
the,
would never. Victoria Beckham would never.
well, no.
You know what Victoria
Look,
Beckham would do? She'd throw her own party and invite the people she wanted to accept.
uh,
That
and
she,
that, I haven't watched the documentary. I
it's
know you
amazing.
have.
I loved it.
And there is a lesson. I mean, it doesn't take the Beckham family one, brilliantly controlled PR exercise, brilliantly done, successful. Brand Beckham getting it right. Victoria then goes and does one, and warts and all gives some very interesting discussions about her own mental health issues, about how she had to deal with anorexia and all that, and covering up back in the day. There were some very fascinating insights that I've seen clips of and actually put her in very good light and show how she's managed and just got on with it and shown by must with a good deal of hard work. And if you look at the two words I've just used, hard work, has enabled Victoria Beckham to have a successful fashion brand, which is not easy. And she talks about the road to get to where it is now has been a troubled one. Financially, wasn't always easy with, despite all her Spice Girl millions and all that. And then brand Beckham, they're not short of a bob or two, but it's been a real masterclass. And this PR exercise, they get their PR so right. And this is a wonderful puff for Victoria. Yet you look at what Meghan has tried to do with As Ever, which Netflix are putting on there. They are two programs that are chalk and cheese. One is trying so very hard. Victoria, you might say, might be trying hard, but at least she comes over and she's self-deprecating, which is, sending herself up, which is very good of the Brown Beckhams to give themselves, look, we don't always take ourselves so seriously. And I think is really good. It's such a lesson
Mm-hmm.
for Meghan's team. But I wouldn't think Meghan would know how to be self-deprecating because she's
No.
so convinced of her legendary status that it unfortunately wouldn't come across natural. Victoria was always, the Spice Girls. She was always the one weren't really sure whether she sang.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
and we didn't
you know what I
care.
mean?
She was just so
You-
cute. Like she was.
Well, am I right there? I mean, because you gave Jerry did the singing, and Mel B did some singing.
Mel
Scary,
C has a great voice. Baby has a great voice. Yeah, yeah.
whereas Victoria was always the one who probably did the harmonies,
She
and
was just.
occasionally we
She
got a
looked
line or
good. She
two.
looked really good in her Gucci dress.
Oh,
Well, can I tell you one thing that bothered me about, and I just don't think I'll have the opportunity to say this again, but
mm,
uh anywhere else because I haven't really discussed it
mm,
anywhere else. But the one thing that really bothered me, and you mentioned this, when she talks about her mental health struggles and her eating disorder,
mm.
maybe it's the media. Maybe I should blame the media here. But when I was a little girl, I combed magazines to see what she ate because I wanted to look like her. And I remember I still have the calorie count and what she ate in my head. She ate 1,200 calories a day. She prioritized carrots. I mean, I know at some point she prioritized salmon. I was so obsessed with trying to look like her when I was a little girl, and I never could because she was an unrealistic thin. And now to hear what 34, 30 years later that it was an eating disorder. It's so frustrating that as a little girl, I was reading in a magazine that I needed to set my calorie count every day for 1,200 and then I could look like her. And then I was so upset because I wasn't looking like her. Do you know what I mean? Like it was hard to hear
I
that
I
after
think
that.
you make a very good point. And in a way, Meghan and Harry were talking about for the children, the stuff that's out there and the sort of people needing to look like. I don't, sadly, that situation, and okay, social media is even worse now, the pressure and the pressure on young people is no less than it was when you were growing up. Um, and the sort of pressure to want to look like one of the Spice Girls because they were iconic the world over. They were sort of, had a sort of rebel streak about them, which made them incredibly popular the world over, which is fair play to them. But it is sad that you felt that you had to eat only 1,200 calories as a young girl and the pressure to look like that. And that is something that is a wide, and that's the mental health issues that William talks about. And to some extent, Harry and Meghan do try and talk about and saying it's about their young children. But unfortunately, they come with a sort of lot of baggage about some of the other stuff that they're involved in that gives them negative headlines. So they can't cut through the negative stuff to tell the positive stuff.
Right.
Does
But
that make
this,
sense?
yeah, but it is the consequences of their own actions. If you want to be a force for anti-bullying, A, you really got to clear up the rumors that you were a palace bully. And B, why do you have Chrissy Teigen, who told a teenage girl to unalive herself on Twitter in front of God and everybody and in DMs? Why would you have that person on your show and give that person a platform? Do you know what I mean? It's like the consequences of their own actions. They don't do their due diligence and they don't sit back and go, what is the worst possible reaction we could have to this decision? All right, based on the fact that Chrissy bullied that person online because it's available on the internet, should we maybe skip this guest and find somebody else that, might not be as controversial?
Well, this is the problem with them. They don't see the consequences. When you come to the Victoria Beckham program, Netflix must be salivating at the figures that program has done because she is a global icon and figure. And and you've watched it and I think you told me you enjoyed it. It was a very well put together documentary about Victoria Beckham. And yet we know, and I've had on the other hand, watched the dross that is the Meghan stuff. And that tells me that they don't actually understand their market properly. We know As Ever is struggling. So now she's having to reinvent herself again as a fashion icon.